make a video now, so I want you to behave, okay? Give me my notes, Carmela. Hi everyone, welcome to Annabelle's Finquita. In today's episode, we're gonna talk about goats. Hopefully you can hear me well because today's a little bit windy and I don't have a microphone that I can wear to bring you a better audio. But I don't know if you noticed, but I make all these videos with my phone. I don't even have a camera to make great videos, but it's okay. I just wanna to give you the information that you need in case you're thinking about getting goats. Number one, you need to decide why you want to get goats for. There's several reasons, but mainly is if you want goats for dairy, milk, like my Alpine goats. This is a very good breed for milk. Also the La Manche and the Nubians are very good dairy goats. Second will be for meat. People for meat, they get the Boer, the Kikos, and the Spanish ones. Those are good breeds for meat goats. Also, people get goats as a pet. They're very lovely animals. There are even petting zoos with goats. They can follow a lot of directions like a dog. I can call my goats by their names and they will come. They know their names. They're very naughty too. Anyways, and also to clean forests. They're browsers. They love to climb on trees, eat the branches, the leaves, the twigs. That's what they really do well. They're not grazers, but we use them as grazers most of the time, and they can eat grass as well. Don't get just one goat because that goat is gonna suffer. It's usually gonna be crying through the whole night and it's not gonna be very happy, and it could get sick as well. So if you're planning to get goats, get at least 2 or 3. I noticed after 2 or 3, if you have more than that, it doesn't make them happier. So there's no difference really, but at least 2, not only 1. I don't recommend tethering your goats. Don't use a rope and tie them to a tree. Don't use a leash like you use it for a dog. I don't ever recommend that because they can tangle up really easy and they could hurt themselves. You wouldn't have time to, you know, save them from that situation. So what kind of goat you want to get? You could get a female, which is called a doe, like this one here, my newbie. Or you can get a wether, which is a fixed male. Or you can get a billy or a buck, which is the male. Now, wethers are cheaper and very friendly. On the other hand, bucks or billies are more aggressive, especially during breeding time. And also what they do is they pee themselves, especially their head, to attract the doe, the female, and they smell really bad all the time. So if you want to have a buck in your farm, I recommend you to have a separate pen, a separate area for him, and just reunite him with the females when it's breeding time. A lot of people have the bad experience of drinking goat milk, like drinking melted goat cheese, because it's kind of smelly and tastes weird. Well, I'll tell you something. If you keep your buck separate from your females all the time, your females are not going to smell at all, and the milk will taste like cow's milk. I promise you that. The usually breeding time is during the fall, and they'll have their kids in spring. But some breeds will have their cycle every month. So once you decide what breed you're gonna get, then you need to find out if their cycles are every month or only during the fall time. Gestation period will be for 5 months, and the cycle happens every 20 days, and it will last from 1 to 3 days. So it's like a period for 1 to 3 days every 20 days. Remember that. Most goats will lay together to keep each other warm. Now, a shelter, this one is a big one, but they don't really need a lot of space. The main thing with a shelter is that it should have at least 3 walls, that way the wind doesn't go through. And goats usually do good with cold, but not with wet. They know that wet environments will make them sick. If the weather is nice, they always prefer to be outside. Outside they feel safer, because inside a shelter, that's where they feel more insecure. They're prey animals and they want to be freely outside in case something happened to run away. Yeah, so a shelter is their last option. My goats usually sleep outside on the grass. Marina, I got a cookie for you. This is for Marina. Good girl. Let's talk about food, guys. They can graze grass, but they're not grazers. So what I do is I give them some grain in the morning and night. You can add some corn to it, but I don't recommend it all the time. They'll get fat and it's not very healthy. It's like eating candy. Hey, also, they fight during feeding time. You can make separations on the feeders where they cannot, bother each other while they eat. I'm usually here to help them out and make sure the smallest ones eat too, fairly. But you can make separations on the feeders or have different sections where they can go in and eat by themselves without bothering the next one next to them. During winter time, we always keep hay. Sometimes it doesn't have to be that gray hay, but it's always have to be available during the winter time. Make sure you always have a running mineral, not a block, okay? Running mineral like this one. And I keep also baking soda. When they feel very bloated and a stomach ache, they will eat from the baking soda. Carmela, she got sick at the beginning because I was not giving them good mineral. I just had a block and she wasn't licking it, and blocks are usually not a good source of mineral. It's just salt most of the time. So she got polio, which is a disease that goats get from deficiency of B12 vitamins in their system. And what I did was I gave her shots of B vitamin, B complex right away, and she got fixed. She started having seizures, actually. I have a video about it. Clean water all the time. It's very important. They have a lot of space here, but it's just grass. We don't have trees here. So what we do, we cut branches from the trees around the area. And we bring them here. They eat the leaves, they scratch on it, and they eat the bark. Look. I also use sunflower seeds for the coating, their hair. So I add it to their grain. And in summertime, they eat a lot of stuff from my garden, vegetables and fruits. They love tomatoes, cucumbers. I also bring them apples. I mean, you name it. Everything that I grow in the garden, they get it. Something really good for them is pine trees. During spring, when the new branches are coming out, they're really tender. Actually, you can make tea from it. Goats love to eat that, the new young branches of the pine trees. And it's a natural dewormer. So that's a great thing. I don't know if you noticed, but Carmela doesn't have any horns. And Manola doesn't have horns. Well, they came like that when I got them in the first place, but I don't cut my goats' horns. That's a decision that you always can take. Some people cut their horns when they're very young, and they say they don't suffer any, but I'm sure they do somehow. But anyways, it's up to you. They do it for safety, especially if there are kids around, or to avoid getting stuck in fences, stuff like that. But since I'm always around here, I decided not to, because I love the way they are, and horns have a purpose in the animal. They serve as a protection, first of all, and they use the horns to scratch their body, and most important, it's a regulator of their body temperature, okay? When they're too hot, they use their horns to regulate their body temperature. You need to cut their hooves too. They grow really, really fast, especially if they eat grain, and especially if they're on soft ground like grass. In nature, they go through rough places and rocky mountains and places where, those places take care of their hooves. But here, domesticated, they don't have that. So we need to cut their hooves. That way they don't get infected and sick. And that's a process that I'm gonna put in another video. For that, I usually need my husband's help, or I need to tie them up really secure, or use the milking stand, because some of them are better than other ones, but none of them like to be, in that situation. They're like cats and dogs, that they don't like their nails to be cut. The same with goats. And goats are very, very strong animals. So you need to use your gloves, have the right equipment, the right scissors that I'm going to show you in another video as well, and cut their hooves. It's better to do it not every month, every other month. Let's talk about fencing now. Most goats fencing are 4x4 holes, okay? Like this one here, or you can use also cattle panels, like the ones that I have in my garden. Those are gonna be great option. Now, at least 4 feet high, and make sure there's no gaps or holes all the way to the bottom, because they will escape. You'll be amazed how small they get. They wiggle in and they go through very small places in no time. This is a good fence for big animals like horses and cows. Originally we had a horse here, but what happened is we put the goats on this area because they have more extensive area to graze, and because we have a lot of chickens, and they learn that this is electric. So once they got shot a couple times, they never went close to it anymore. We have kids going through it at the beginning because they didn't know any better, but after they went through it, they want to get back in because they know this is their safe place. And we even had the goats at the house, at the cabin, and they wouldn't want to go any other place. I took Manola once into the woods, and she didn't even want to go in there with me because they want to go back here to the herd. So they always want to be together, and it's very weird that just one goat adventure out and escape from your herd, because they always want to be together and they know where home is. They love toys and things where they can jump on it. This is basically all the medications that I keep handy in case I need them. I don't use preventive medication on my animals. Never did. I let them get used to the environment and create their own antibodies and fight against all the bacteria around them by themselves naturally. This is iodine in case there's cuts or injury. And I have here B complex, which is mostly B12 and B6, that I inject them when I see them in low energy, or when the girls have their babies, or in any other case that I think they're needed. This is an antibiotic that I have, and this is a dewormer, and just a thermometer. And I have a syringe here for injections. Intestinal parasites is a problem that you're gonna deal with if you have goats, and you will never get control of worms with drugs. It's all about management. You need to either be rotating pasture or have them in a dry lot. Grass is a vital part of the parasite cycle. What happens is the goat goes and poop the egg hatch, and there's a larva. And the reality is, when it comes to parasites, that there's no drugs that your goats need to be consuming in a regular basis. They just need to be not consuming worm larvae. In other words, it's very, very important that your goats are not eating from their toilet. In nature, they range over thousands and thousands of miles. They don't live in small pens like we keep them. So it's very important to keep them dry all the time and rotate them if you have the land for it. If the problem is a disease and not worms, call a professional or a vet, and use your very best common sense and practice in every situation. Okay guys, I hope this video will help you to decide if you want to get goats in the future. I hope you're ready to clean a lot of poop and do a lot of shorts, and also get a lot of love from them and have a lot of fun, because they're beautiful animals to have. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.